Yo, what it is. Welcome to it, our podcast, Friends with Benefits, with me, Charlie, aka The Hope Plug, with my boy over here, Kimani, aka Boskeda, the dude with the red cap.
Did you
Yo,
just,
team,
did you just call me? No, we never lose, guys. Wait, did you just call me boy? Yes, boy.
Are you not a boy?
By
You're my
no
boy,
sta-
though.
By no. Oh, okay.
It is.
Okay. I thought
Anyway, so, in our previous podcast, what?
in a previous podcast. Anyway,
in our previous podcast,
yes.
we were talking about women being abused by their men, basically gender-based violence.
Yeah.
What it is, what it means, and the different forms of gender-based violence. And just to recap, we spoke about emotional abuse. What was it again?
Yeah, and the role of men and how men should be involved in the discussion
Yeah.
that is based on that, and not letting women be the ones who have to lead the conversation and be the victims of it as well. So yeah, that was.
And so today we're going to be looking at the social aspects or the social reasons that kind of contribute to why we have gender-based violence happening in our communities.
Yeah.
And I think one of the other things that really sticks out is if you look at generally how boys are raised.
Yeah.
You know, when they're playing with girls, they're actually never taught to have relationships with girls. In that sense, I mean understanding how to communicate with girls.
Yeah.
Because usually, more often when kids are playing,
Yeah.
and if a boy is playing with a girl, and a group of other guys come, or even an older person comes and saying, "Urutambire kune vasikane
Yeah.
unopenga here, chi," or even komana afane kuone kwa chitamba mahumbwe, right?
Yeah.
In a sense, that's very embarrassing for kids. But I think that also contributes to how a man will understand what women do. Because for a girl or for women, it's sort of in a way embedded in them to, want to take care of the house, want to do A plus B plus C, and so it's also, contributing to role playing when people are older, right? But I feel like what's happened is people have been conditioned just to role play and not understanding good models of communication and understanding how to move together with women. So when a man is associating with girls, he's called weak. I feel guilty now that I'm talking about.
Because you used to call other men weak.
Because I remember when I used to call Tapio. I used to call him my Nini. That was wrong.
Yeah.
I apologize. That was wrong.
Tapio, if you're watching this, visit,
by the way,
you should.
I'm sorry to say Tapio.
But I think there's something you said.
Yeah.
I think that's a key word you said, and I never thought about that, which is communication.
Yeah.
So it's weird it's interesting because, like, as men, I don't think that we've been really taught how to communicate. And when your communication skills lack in certain areas, you will overdo certain areas.
Yeah.
So if you have a weaker vocabulary, you will use more
muscle.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So I think also that has to do with we haven't been taught how to communicate, especially our emotions. So we bottle those things up until one day we explode. So I think that's one of the things and I think the other thing is violent people will be violent. Like, for example, I was never taught not to beat up a woman. Like, I was never told not to rape a woman. Like, I've never been told that. But I just grew up not a violent person. Like, it's just natural. I'm not a violent person naturally. So I think also that plays into it. Like, if a person, the people who abuse their women are naturally violent people, they're just violent people, or they get violent after they drink alcohol, right? So I think that's also the other thing. And the last thing I want to say about that is, I'm just saying, like, if you do the research and you look at most of the people who live in abusive homes or in abusive situations, alcohol is involved. I'm just saying, people.
All right.
So I can see that most of it is really because of, I'm not blaming alcohol, so I'm not saying everybody who drinks alcohol abuses their wives, but alcohol is involved within the most abusive homes and settings. So so I think because of the effect that it has on people. So I'm just saying that because I can see that the phone is telling us that we can only record for 5 minutes. Anyway.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
the previous video limited us to
Yeah,
5
it's
minutes.
5
This
minutes.
one's gonna do the same. Anyway,
Yeah.
so I mean, just to add on to what you were saying,
Yeah.
I think also community plays a very big role in that.
Yeah.
Defining who's who,
Yeah.
how good someone is or how bad someone is. We're not losing the plot here. We're still talking about, gender-based violence
Yeah.
and how boys, because how you were taught as a boy to communicate with a woman, or what is the information that's given to you as a boy as to what a girl is what you grow up with, more or less, knowing that this is going to be my definition of what a woman is.
Yeah.
This is going to be my definition of how to treat a woman, how to communicate with a woman, how to understand a woman.
Yeah.
And so you realize also another thing is like in school, you know, I remember when I was in school, and the class teacher always used to say, if you're a boy, why are you sitting amongst girls?
Okay.
Why are you sitting amongst girls? So community teaches us, the one of the weirdest things actually that I'm figuring out is community when we are younger separates us, because you're being told, why are you playing with girls?
Yeah.
Right? Why are you spending time with girls? It's not bad to spend some time with girls, and understanding what girls get up to or what they do and all of that jazz, right? But then when you're older, when you want to get into a relationship, because then at some point in your life when you've grown, community then says, why don't you have a girlfriend?
Yeah.
Why don't you have a boyfriend? But when you were younger, they were trying to separate you,
Yeah.
right, from that. I know there are other things like, people getting into shenanigans, or what's that other word?
Shenanigans.
No, there's another word.
That does better than shenanigans.
Yeah, that does better. But anyway,
Okay.
we'll think about the word later. But anyway, I know that we're trying to protect us, right?
Yeah.
But then it's weird how we are not taught,
Yeah.
right, to communicate properly with girls that tomorrow become our women, the people we're supposed to build our lives with, the people we're also supposed to build the same society, communities with,
Yeah.
and I think that's like a very weird model that we are living in, or that we grew up in. And
I think also if you look at how, so the majority of people who abuse women came from abusive backgrounds,
yeah,
right? Because hurt people hurt people. That's just natural.
yeah, definitely, yeah,
So you want to look at it from where did these people come from and how were they raised, right?
yeah,
So that's one of the things you have to look at in relationships. It's like if you ask each other questions, it's like, yo, like, how was your parents? If there was if the person was in an abusive relationship, meaning, or they were in an abusive home, their dad used to beat up their mother while they were watching, they will probably
that's wrong.
they will probably be inclined to do the same thing. Now, I'm not saying all people that come from those homes are like
Because
that.
for most, that's their model of.
Yeah, but for most people, that's the model. And for most women who have been in abusive homes, when they are being abused, they see it as normal because they grew up in it. So they just, oh yeah, my mom was beaten by my dad and she stayed. Oh, okay, yeah, so it's normal. Yeah, that's
Firai papo,
yeah, it's like, yeah, no,
chichichi,
it's like, so,
and not look for solutions.
and you're not looking, you actually take it as normal. They're
Yeah.
actually people who psychologically get so used to being abused,
Yeah,
they defend. It's called the Stockholm syndrome, right? Where you defend the person who is abusing you when you actually take their side more than you take the side of other people.
Yeah.
So you get beaten and you no ayewa adaro angondrwa nasi, I think angakadakwa. When you start giving excuses for someone else's character, you know that's wrong, because now you begin to defend them. So I think also the house that you come from. And the last thing I say is, boys are supposed to be close to their mothers, right? So I think that has to be, it's something that maybe in our culture because if the boy is close to the mother, anovanza ha but we learn how to associate with women from our mothers. That's where we learn it from.
yeah,
The way you treat your mother, listen, the way a man treats his mom is gonna be the way he treats his woman. If you respect your mom, you have a different respect when it comes to women. But yeah,
I also think fathers
Yeah.
are also supposed to take that responsibility to say, look, the dad is supposed to teach you how to communicate with your sisters, how to respect,
Yeah.
because he's now the model,
yeah,
He's now the model. He's supposed to show you how to communicate with your sisters, how to communicate with girls in the hood. Sit you down and you down. The dad is actually supposed to sit you down,
Yeah.
and talk to you about what it means to be a man,
Yeah.
a responsible man,
Yeah.
right? To not hurt a woman, what it means to take care of a woman, to be with a woman, to be someone else's partner.
Yeah.
And I like the fact that my dad started telling me when I was 8 years old.
Yeah.
I didn't understand what it means, but he always used to say, "Usarove mkadzi,
Yeah.
usarove mskana,"
Yeah.
right? And I'd be like, "Kakantidena ndokaroa,"
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
But I never understood. But because it was told to me enough times, I think maybe once a month or twice a month, he'd sit me down and be like, when we'd be walking, then
Yeah.
take a coke, to but a chila chinwa cook nema banzi,
Yeah.
those
The good
yeah,
days.
yeah.
Good
And then
old
over one
days.
time, mkadza rowe, mkadza tukwe, and when you have a girlfriend, usamdaro, treat her well, and all of that.
Yeah.
And that's how I knew. Not that I wasn't angered by the opposite sex before. I was, even to a point where my sisters would actually anger me big time. But I'd refrain myself because I was taught to not do that, to look for other avenues of resolving the problem.
But also, what your dad did was, you never saw your dad beat up your mom.
Never. Not
Do you
even
understand
one
what I
day.
mean?
Yeah.
That's also it comes from. It's not the telling is good. I'm not saying, but it's also kids learn more from what they see. Not what they're told. So if I tell you don't beat up a woman, and then I wake up the next morning I beat up a woman, you're like, wait, but how?
It's contradictory.
Yeah. So it's like, I'm learning more from your actions. So it's also what kids are allowed to see. What do we allow kids to see?
Yeah.
What do we allow our girls to see? Look, the girl child has to be close to the dad. That's how that works, right? So boys, we're close to our moms and girls. A girl who grew up with a dad who loved her, who was there for her, who supported her, who cheered her on, that woman is less likely to be abused and take it than a girl who grew up in a family where she was distant from her dad. Because we learn these relationships we learn how we're going to be in our houses. We need to learn those things at home.
Yeah.
That's where we need to learn them. So I think abuse, like gender-based violence or domestic abuse, has never been looked at as the it's almost like the result of the decaying of black families, right? Because that's where we need to learn that from. We need to learn it at home. But the amount of kids that are having kids today, or the amount of children being raised by single parents today, is a lot.
It's big.
So now imagine if you were raised by your single mom.
Yeah.
Then your single mom dates a brother who comes into the house and abuses her. Your idea of a man is almost like, oh yeah, men come in and men go. Men come in and men
stay.
yeah.
You don't
know what I
take
mean?
responsibility for anything.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So most of it is coming from the decaying of the black family across the world. Like if you look at one of the communities where we have more single mothers raising kids, is more in the black community.
Yeah.
So I think like that also plays a role, because we're supposed to learn these things from our mothers. We're supposed to learn these things from our dads. So like I had a close relationship with my sister.
Yeah.
So because of my sister, like my parents were divorced, so I never had my mom in the house.
We're gonna need to wrap it up because we only left with like a minute and a half.
Okay, but I wasn't raised in that. My parents were divorced when I was a kid, so I never saw the relationship between. So what then happened was my sister was the mom basically, and because of the relationship I had with her and the way we communicated, it helped me to understand women better. It helped me to understand. So
Women a lot better. Yeah.
yeah. So those things are in the home first, where you grow up, and then you become the person that you are when you grow up, how you were when
Guys,
you were growing up.
we
So-
still want to take more time, talking about this, but we've recorded 15 minutes of separate 5-minute videos, and this has been the second episode. We're going to catch you in the next episode, when we're also going to keep looking at social aspects that are affecting or causing gender-based violence, starting from when we began, when we were kids. So from me, the whole plug, your boy Charlie, aka Black is Gold, aka Ndini Ndadaro, Ndini Ndineyese. Well, okay, fine.
Well, look, for me, aka gold is gold. You dig? Okay, okay.
It's near here.
Okay.
Yo, guys, take care. God bless you. And
Yeah.
say no to gender-based violence. All men, protect your women, love your women, care for your women, and
Don't just say no. Don't do it. Also,
Yeah.
and if you know someone who's doing it, stop them.